Hi everyone, this is the demo video for the painting portion of the creature combination project. So here is my creature combination painting so far. Next up we're going to get into collage, so this isn't finished yet, but in this video I'm going to focus on the painting process for this piece. So we're using gouache and we're going to be applying some fundamental principles from the color wheel. So let's take a moment, reflect back on our color wheel. So there's a few things that we're going to be applying into this project coming from our color wheel. An essential thing, you're going to be mixing a value scale for whatever color you want to make your creature. In this case, I went for that deep rose, the magenta that we have in our palettes, in our paint palettes. So it's essentially a red, okay? And to get the shades or the sort of the shadow colors for that red, I need to combine the red with its complement. When I do that, when I combine red with its complement, it's going to give me some darker shades to be using, and it's also going to neutralize it. Okay, and so it's going to give me the shadow colors that I need. So, complementary colors, those are colors that are opposite of one another on the color wheel. In this case, red is opposite of green. When I combine them together, it's going to give me a neutral, so something going close to black, brown, or gray, okay? And it's also going to give me a darker value to be working with. Generally speaking, this is generally speaking, your shadows are not only obviously going to be darker, it's part of what makes them shadows, right, that they're darker, but they're also going to be more neutralized, so going closer to that gray or black, okay? So that's a big thing. For my own creature combination, I was combining this red, our deep rose, and then I was combining this green with it to make these shadows that I've painted in here. You still want that shadow to feel like it's part of this red hue, right? So you're making a neutral, something that's going towards black, but you're leaning it into the red. And I mixed out several different shadow colors for myself to be using. One that was very dark, very neutral, and then adding more red as I was going up the value scale. The majority of my light here, the light sections in my animal, I was making it this chromatic red. So also, generally speaking, the light sections can become more saturated and chromatic, and that chromatic color is going to jump forward and read like more of a light. Okay, so neutrals tend to sink in, you feel more like shadows. More chromatic and saturated colors tend to jump forward. I also put in some highlights in here, and that was combining some of my red and my white, and also using some pure white. And you don't want to go overboard with that application of white. You want that to be some detail that you're building into your piece. Okay, so we're applying these lessons from the color wheel, both in terms of combining complements to create shades, so dealing with the value scale, and also thinking about how shadows are more neutral and the lights are going to be more chromatic. Okay, so now you're going to see my process for this painting, and as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. First, mix out a value scale for the color you'll be making your combination creature. To mix your shadow colors, combine the color you want to make your creature with its complement. In my case, I combined red with green to achieve darker and more neutralized versions of red. Establish your shadow mask and put down a base of color into your light sections. For the white gouache to later read, you will need a solid base of color. Your white gouache will not read as light if it is going on top of the white of the paper. Value and color are relative. Your shadows should read as darker and more neutralized, while your light sections can be brighter and more chromatic. Slowly work up to detail, beginning in the shadow sections and then building up to the light sections. Squint at your painting. Are you getting a sense of light and dark? Try different brushes. The fan brush is great for quickly adding a fur texture, and the round brushes are great for finer detail. I want to see the lessons from the color wheel applied to the way you are painting this creature. Mix your shades by combining complements. Your shadows should read as darker and more neutral, while still the same hue as the light sections. The light sections should be lighter and more chromatic. We will also be adding in collage and mixed media elements to this project, but your creature needs to be fully painted before we introduce this next step. Feel free to add washes to the background and think about the environment your creature is in. As always, reach out with any questions or for feedback.